morning. My name is Tim McOsker, and I am the councilman of the 1-5, a district in the city of Los Angeles that runs from Watts to the waterfront where we are today. And I'm really honored to be joined by city, county, and state officials, as well as leaders in our grassroots organizations and leaders in our local business organizations for this message today. Why are we on Terminal Island? We are at the Japanese Fishermen's Memorial because it was not long ago that this Terminal Island was home to a vibrant community. It was called East San Pedro, and about 2,000 to 3,000 Japanese immigrants and Japanese Americans by merit of their birth lived, worked, prayed, played right here 85 years ago. When the United States entered World War II, and even before the executive order by President Roosevelt, officials descended upon this island and illegally and unconstitutionally deprived residents of this island, residents and citizens on this island, of their due process rights, the protections in the Constitution, and deprived them of unwarranted or illegal searches and seizures of their bodies and their property. That was just 85 years ago. I grew up in this community knowing people like my grandparents who remember the day that kids didn't show up for school, remember the day that businesses were empty, remember the day that boats sat bobbing in the water and other folks came in and bought them on pennies on the dollar. Those were violations, constitutional violations. And why is that important? It's important for, in and of itself it's important, but it's important today because the 2025 version of those constitutional violations are happening every day in our community. Violations of people's due process, protected under the Constitution. Every resident is protected under the Constitution. Violations of their protections against unwarranted illegal searches and seizures. It's happening in our communities. But even a greater tragic irony is that some of it is emanating from right here on the island, right here on this island. Just beyond where we are is a Coast Guard base and a federal prison. And on that Coast Guard base, we know that federal agents of ICE and other federal agencies are staging their operations right here in Terminal Island. Think of the tragedy of that irony. Are staging their operations and leaving from this island and fanning out into all of our communities throughout the county, throughout the city, and conducting those very same violations of people's rights. People are entitled to due process. People are entitled to be protected against unwarranted searches and seizures. The federal government, because these good people have stood up, the federal government has sued the city of Los Angeles. Sued the city of Los Angeles and said, you have to join us in our unconstitutional behaviors. No. And we said no. No. And we said no. We said no because our community leaders and our elected leaders won't allow that.
That's right.
And the people won't allow it. And the people are leading from the back and the middle and the front. The ACLU filed litigation with other organizations against the federal government proactively and said, we will not participate and you will follow the Constitution. And the city of Los Angeles has joined that lawsuit, showing where leadership comes from. Thank you. And while we are in that litigation, and the courts, I hope, will figure it out. I hope that we still have an independent judiciary that will stand up for the Constitution, because we know that the first decision is probably coming out today, a preliminary one. Either the Constitution will win or the Constitution will lose. If the Constitution wins, the federal government will appeal. If the Constitution loses, we will. We will appeal. But while that fight is going on, we are here to say, ICE, get off the island. Get off the island. We don't want you here in the. We will not be complicit. We will not be complicit in the day-to-day, the mundane evil of violating people's constitutional rights and pretending that it's okay. It is not okay. It is not okay. And I'm not a crank alone on this. I'm joined by really good people from the community and from the business community and elected leaders, and the city of Los Angeles is united on this. We as a council are united with the mayor. We as a council are united with one another, and I am so honored that the council president of the city of Los Angeles has come all the way down to the south end of this district, all the way down to the harbor area. Marqueece Harris-Dawson, president of the Los Angeles City Council.
All the way down. It's a long way down.
Thank you so much. Let's give another big round of applause to our leader, Councilmember Tim McOsker, who did indeed get me down to the harbor to this mini rally / press conference. I just came along because I wanted to celebrate the resistance. Whenever we have situations like this and ones like Mr. McOsker just laid out that happen here, there are always those of us who resist. And one thing that the federal government has done, and Donald Trump has done, that I promise you all he will regret. He has unified all of Southern California. Neighborhood councils, community groups, labor, business, every single level of government across ideological lines, we are all unified in saying ICE out of LA. We will defend the Constitution, and more than that, we will defend the humanity of our neighbors. And so you'll hear from an array of speakers that are here today. I know we're going to put out some more actions from the city of Los Angeles, which we're all in support of this morning. We will continue to fight in the courts. We'll continue to fight on social media. We'll continue to fight in the streets. But we will not rest until ICE is out of Los Angeles. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are also aligned as a city with the County of Los Angeles, and we are really honored to have great leadership on our County Board of Supervisors. And my dear friend and community member right here, also representing this area, Janice Hahn, Supervisor Hahn.
Thank you. Tim McOsker, I think that's the best passionate speech I've ever heard you give, and you had no notes. I was looking over your shoulder. That was a mic drop speech, and when you said you're not alone, you could have been, because we could have all left at that point. That was one of the best speeches I've heard you give, and again, no notes. Yeah, no, I would never say that. Good morning, everyone. Thank you to my friend and our leader in the city of Los Angeles, Tim McOsker, for your leadership. Thank you to Council President Harris-Dawson for coming all the way down here to Pedro. And to the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce, Elise Swanson and others are here this morning. Thank you. You know, we have a different Chamber of Commerce down here. You all are a Chamber of Commerce that really has figured out how to be kind of an activist Chamber of Commerce for the community, for people, even for those who aren't members of your chamber, you all fight for. And I know that every day because I deal with a lot of chambers of commerce in Los Angeles County, and you are a different one, and we appreciate you. Thank you to our Harbor Peace Patrol who are here. Thank you for your long-standing work for peace and to end wars. And this is definitely an all-out war and assault on our residents of LA County. Thank you for your work. Over the last weeks, we've heard countless stories and watched countless videos posted to social media of groups of agents, masked, always armed, pull up to everyday places in everyday neighborhoods and chase, tackle, and detain everyday working people. Our government said they would be targeting violent criminals. Instead, they're going after day laborers. They're going after strawberry pickers. They're going after garment factory workers, ripping fathers and mothers out of their cars in the middle of the street, grabbing people trying to do the right thing at their immigration hearings that we told them to go to in the first place. And it is a sad, tragic irony that ICE and CBP have chosen this spot as a launching pad for those illegal raids and sweeps that have terrorized communities across LA County over these last few weeks. This memorial here honors a Japanese fishing village that once stood here. At its height, 3,000 first and second generation Japanese had made their homes here on Terminal Island. This was a safe, thriving, beloved community, and all that came to an end in 1942. Just last week, I had the honor, Tim, of throwing a 100th birthday party celebration for a man named Yosh Nakamura. Like the residents of this fishing village, Yosh and his family were ripped from their homes and communities and sent off to internment camps after Pearl Harbor. And despite that horrific treatment on the part of our government, Yosh went on to enroll in the U.S. Army and bravely fought fascism in Europe during World War II. The internment of Japanese Americans remains one of the darkest stains on our nation's history. Sadly, 80 years later, it doesn't seem like we've learned very much. Today, our country is starting to look more like a police state, not the great democracy that heroes like Yosh Nakamura went to Europe to fight against. Entire communities are being left silent and afraid by these violent ICE and CBP agents. I know their boss, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. I served in Congress with Kristi. I was in a bipartisan Bible study with Kristi Noem. And I've told her, I said it in a video, I said, you need to go back and reread your Bible. Because the last time I checked, abusing immigrants and tearing families apart is nowhere in our Bible. I call on Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem to get ICE off of Terminal Island and get ICE out of Los Angeles County. Our communities deserve to go about their daily lives again, and we can't do that while these mass thugs continue to terrorize our immigrant neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. From Watts to the Waterfront, I'm honored to have so much overlay with our next speaker in his district, and that is a great friend of mine, Assemblymember Mike Gibson.
Thank you very much. Buenos dias to each and every one of you. I want to say to my council member, Tim McOsker, thank you very much for gathering us all here together to denounce this facility, for being here this morning. Thank you very much, Supervisor Janice Hahn, to my council, again, colleague and friend, Tim McOsker, to my assembly member, Al Martucci, to our council president. Thank you very much for being here. Everyone for standing in solidarity. We greet you this morning. Thank you very much for your bravery, standing in solidarity for our community. Today, I stand before you to stand and condemn the Trump administration for its continuous threat against our community. For having this ICE facility as a staging ground, as an operation, is a travesty and a slap in our community's face. This facility here at Terminal Island is not just a building. It is a symbol of division and fear and injustice here in our community. Let me be clear. This community, which houses a strong economic engine in our community, in our country, the Port of Long Beach and the Port of Los Angeles, it is not the MAGA administration's playground. Let me say that again. It is not the MAGA's playground. We will not tolerate the hate, the discrimination, and the attack on our civil rights, our civil liberties that the Trump administration is inflicting upon the hard work of our communities across California and these United States of America. This facility does not serve our community's best interests. It is a weapon that tears families apart. It creates chaos and undermines the very fabric of our neighborhoods. It uses a tool that destroys families. We reject the narrative that this facility is not necessary in our communities. It creates a threat for every family that surrounds these communities. It will not allow our neighborhoods. It is not a battleground. It creates hate and discrimination. Our community is built on resilience, diversity. It makes what California stands upon. California would not be California without its diversity.
That's right.
And we are proud of its diversity. California stands united, and we send a clear message to the Trump administration: get the hell out of California, and we want you to get out right now. Today, we call on leaders, not only the local level, but the state and federal level, that we band together in solidarity, and we stand in solidarity. And we say together that we want this detention center to get out, and we want its doors to close. And we say, get the hell out, shut down, and we want you to shut down now.
Thank you, Assemblymember. The state legislature is united in this. We are also honored to have an assembly member in the next district over who shares some of this district and who has been a constant supporter of what's right and good for the Port of Los Angeles. Assemblymember Al Marasucci.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Al Marasucci. I'm proud to represent San Pedro and the Harbor community, along with my colleague Mike Gibson in the California legislature. And I'm proud to join Councilman McOsker. Thank you very much for your leadership in bringing us all together, bringing the Harbor community together to stand up today, to call for ICE to get off of Terminal Island and to get ICE out of Los Angeles. You know, ICE is going after hard-working immigrants and their families, not criminals. Immigrants are being rounded up and incarcerated just like the Japanese Americans more than 80 years ago, who, as Councilman McOsker talked about, once had a strong, vibrant, thriving community right behind us. I want to thank the councilman for his efforts to preserve the history and the legacy of this once thriving Japanese American community, the fishermen. I know that when I talk to the Italians and the Croatians in Pedro, they always talk about how they were side by side with the Japanese fishermen right here in the San Pedro community. And as the only Japanese American in the California legislature, I stand here for those hardworking immigrants who are today, just like the Japanese Americans were 80 years ago, today hardworking immigrants are being scapegoated and wrongfully accused of being a threat to our communities. Right. The men, women, and children, the families who are getting arrested and deported, they are part of our community, they are our neighbors, they are our colleagues, and they are our friends. As chair of the Assembly Education Committee, I am fighting to keep ICE out of California public schools. Unfortunately, we know we're seeing the attendance of our kids, California kids, our immigrant kids, dropping off dramatically at our schools, not just in Los Angeles Unified, but across our state, across the country. And so today, I know that there were not a lot of people that stood up for Japanese Americans when we were rounded up and mass incarcerated in the concentration camps during World War II. But today, I am proud to stand with each and every member of the community, all of the elected leadership, to stand up for our hardworking immigrants, our neighbors, our friends, and to tell ICE, get off of Terminal Island and get out of Los Angeles.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember. So I've gone from city to county to state. You see what I was doing there? I was going one up on the levels of government. I'm now going to go to the highest level of our government, the people. Yes. The highest level of our government. We are fortunate here in the harbor area especially to have deep roots in organizing. Probably comes out of labor, but folks have been organizing around causes here in the harbor area forever, and we have a great coalition of organizations, including our Harbor Area Peace Patrol. Let's hear it for the Peace Patrol again. And I really am humbled to say it is the actions of our local organizing groups that really have brought, I as an elected official, and I think all the elected officials would agree, that this is a moment of people power leadership. And to speak on behalf of these great organizations, we have Maya Suzuki Daniels.
Good morning. My name is Maya Suzuki Daniels. I'm a teacher, a mother, a proud descendant of Japanese Americans, and a resident of San Pedro. I'm also part of the UTLA Area Steering Committee and an organizer with the Harbor Area Peace Patrols. I'm here to say clearly and unequivocally, no ICE on Terminal Island. My family's history compels me to speak up on this issue. My grandfather, born in Los Angeles in 1920, served in the U.S. military during World War II. During the time of his service, his relatives were incarcerated in concentration camps in the Arizona desert, as were the historical residents of Fish Harbor, the fishing village that once thrived on this island. We know the trauma that comes from forced displacement, family separation, and mass incarceration. My grandfather taught me the values of peace, justice, equality, and compassion. These are the values that guide me today and that I see reflected in my neighbors here in San Pedro, people who come together in times of need, who have built this community through solidarity and shared histories of migration. That same spirit led us to launch the Harbor Area Peace Patrols in June, with the support of Unión del Barrio, San Pedro Neighbors for Peace and Justice, and the Community Self-Defense Coalition. We are parents, educators, religious leaders, and community members who peacefully patrol San Pedro and Wilmington every single day, providing information so our communities can stay safe and know their rights. We began to monitor Terminal Island immediately after learning that ICE and Border Patrol agents were operating there, masked, armed, and in unmarked vehicles. These agents have been seen staging in the parking lots of the old immigration detention facility and the Coast Guard base. We've documented license plate swapping, faces covered with balaclavas in the heat of the summer, and other efforts to avoid accountability. If residents must follow traffic laws, why are these armed agents allowed to break them with impunity? Some of the photos that we have here that Jeannie is going to show, examples of the unmarked cars, of which we see dozens of moving in and out of the port every single day. This is a photo we took on July 4th when we had a people's party here. This depicts someone with a plastic bag over their head in an effort to avoid accountability. These are examples of the masked agents we see moving in and out of that checkpoint every single day, wearing balaclavas in the heat of a July summer. This is a sign that we encountered on our first day of patrols on a truck that is still parked just down the road. It has Wisconsin plates. It says, "Get 'em, Christy. Real Americans support you. Thank you. Happy hunting." This is an example of the staging operations that we observe from our homes in San Pedro. You can see the Coast Guard clearly in the front. You can see the marked difference with Border Patrol agents in the back. Another example of the CBP agents on Terminal Island, clearly using those facilities, eating, resting, having meetings. This was also taken during our People's Party on the 4th of July. This is tape over a license plate. That is not legal. As a resident of San Pedro, I could not drive down the street with tape over my license plate. I would be pulled over immediately. The next few photos are cars that we have observed moving in and out of the ports, and community members have sent in video and photo footage of them being used to kidnap people across Los Angeles. This is a raid in, I believe this one is Anaheim. Is this Anaheim? This is another photo of a car leaving Terminal Island being used to kidnap someone in Eagle Rock later that day. This is from the same kidnapping. This was on the 4th of July. Street vendors went out to work and they were taken. They were kidnapped, and we were able to trace that vehicle back to the staging operations here. Again, these are community members doing the work of peacefully observing and documenting what is happening in their communities. On the right in this photo is a black Nissan truck. This is from the Bell raid, where the community came out and made it visibly clear that they did not want ICE in their community. On the right, you see a Ford F-150 less than a month later with the exact same license plate. This is evidence that they are switching license plates. Again, an illegal practice. And lastly, we still have people who ask us, how do you know that they are Border Patrol? Right. Well, they're driving Border Patrol trucks, and they're wearing Border Patrol uniforms. They do not identify themselves, but they are clearly identified. And these are agents that were later seen to be in the Walmart parking lot of a deeply violent abduction of a community member and an employee. This is the same agent. Terminal Island is already a place marked by histories of displacement and racial injustice. Using it to stage violent kidnappings is not only disturbing, it's a safety threat to the entire region. Over 30% of the nation's overwater trade moves through these ports. Unidentified armed men moving through our harbor is a threat to our economy and our public safety. Despite the fear these agents try to spread, we will not back down. We love San Pedro. We love Los Angeles. And we will not allow outside forces to determine the future of our communities. We will stand together in peace and in power. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Maya. I would say the people's case rests, but I don't think there's going to be any rest. And if you're not going to rest, we're not going to rest. Thank you for that. We also stand in alignment with our business community, our local business community that gets harmed by all of this. Let's be clear. The immediate harms, the actual harms to people is what's primary. But we have all these secondary harms that come to our education system, to our hospital system, to our business communities, and to everybody in this community. And to speak on the local community interest in business, we have the president of the Chamber of Commerce for San Pedro, Mr. Anthony Luna. Excuse me, the board chair.
Board chair.
Not the president.
They say immigration raids will keep our city safe. But today I'm here to tell you they're doing exactly the opposite. Fear is killing our businesses, emptying our storefronts, choking our economy. And if you think it's not your problem, just wait. By the end, you'll understand why the economic crisis unfolding here in Los Angeles is about to become the nation's next economic crisis, unless we act today. 2 days ago, I stepped into a local business, the original Las Brisas, a local family-owned restaurant with 40 years of history. The kind of place where the smell of El Pastor hits you before the door ever opens, where dock workers, teachers, and families know the owner by name. When I walked in, it was nearly empty. Not because the food changed, not because there was a problem with the service, but because fear has moved onto this island. Hillary, one of the owners, looked at me in the eyes and said, "Lunch is gone." She wasn't talking about a time of day. She was talking about her livelihood. Hillary's story isn't isolated. It's systemic, and it's traveling across our community. I'm Anthony Luna. I'm the board chair of the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also the CEO of a local property management business. Yesterday, we saw it happen again, just up the coast in Oxnard. Farms were left without workers because of ice raids. Farmers watched their produce rot in the field because fear kept the remaining workforce away. Children last night were left without their parents. And what happens in California rarely stays here in California. Our communities here send produce, products, and services to every corner of this nation. This isn't just Hillary's restaurant in San Pedro. It's our farms in Ventura County. It's our businesses across California. And soon it'll be felt by all of us nationwide. The Los Angeles Harbor is America's largest port economy. What flows through LA fills the shelves in Michigan, stocks factories in Ohio, and supplies hospitals in Texas. Economists estimate that every day of disruption, we're experiencing at least $44 million worth of cost to our revenue, our productivity, and consumer spending. If we stay silent, tomorrow it just won't be empty restaurants or rotting produce. It'll be empty factories, vacant storefronts, and neighborhoods drained of economic life across this country. This is what we're fighting to save. The family restaurant on the corner, the harvest ready to be picked, the dignity of safe work, the trust that keeps our economy running. We still have a chance to save it if we act together. Today, we call on the U.S. Coast Guard to immediately halt cooperation with DHS and ICE raids in our communities. You join the Coast Guard to protect lives, to secure our shores, to serve with honor. Right now, our communities need your protection, not from danger at sea, but from fear itself within our government. Stand with us, honor your mission, and protect our people. To my fellow business leaders across California and America, your silence won't protect your business. Your silence won't save your margins. Pretending this isn't your problem is no longer an option. Today, the Chamber is circulating a joint letter calling for an immediate halt to these disruptive raids to get ICE off of Terminal Island. Put your business's name on record. Immigration raids aren't protecting America. They're dismantling it from the inside. We protect America by supporting our local businesses, protecting our workers, and preserving our communities. Now is the time for all of us to speak up. Keep Los Angeles moving, keep California growing, and keep our economy safe. Thank you.
Thank you to the community groups, to our local business, to our elected officials at all levels. We've made the case. We are complete here, and we are available for questions.
Isn't it a federal prison that's also there, other than the Coast Guard?
There is a federal prison there.
Tell the federal government to do what to do on their
We just
facilities.
did. We just did. It's the Constitution. What we can say is there's a Constitution in the United States of America. There was then, in 85 years ago when it was violated. There is today. We've filed litigation. We're responding to litigation. The Constitution needs to hold, and what we need is an end to these ICE raids that are in violation of constitutional principles.
When the federal government,
And we're making a political demand, a community demand, coming from the people and coming from elected officials, that we do not want this island that is part of our community, that is part of our livelihood, that's been part of our history, to be complicit in these unconstitutional raids. And that's our answer.
but they seem to be thumbing their nose at you.
That's right, and we'll thumb back. And we're going to keep fighting. The community is going to lead. We're going to follow. We're going to make sure that business and elected leaders and community members and religious leaders, thank you for being here, are all going to say the same thing, that this is our community. We adhere to constitutional principles. Are we perfect? No, but we'll keep trying. And we need the federal government to adhere to the Constitution. We filed litigation on that accord. We are defending ourselves on that same point. And we are saying, in the meantime, we are not going to be complicit. Get off this island. Get out of this community. Thank you.